I think we're live.
We
Okay.
are.
Oh wait,
We
no. This
are.
is setting up still. Oh
Oh,
wait, is it live?
We're live.
There's a
yes, it's
delay. We're live.
live.
Welcome back everyone to another night of tribute talk. Post seeing the movie. I mean, we had the live in North Carolina, but we're back all on the internet again. It feels like a long time since I've done this, like a month.
So
Uh,
long.
so yeah. And Ronnie's here too. And we have a
Yay.
couple of special guests. We have Marilyn, who's been a listener for a long time and it's always showing up in the comments. So we're happy to have her on here.
Hello.
And who else do we have? Rachel. Rachel, you've been on before, but
Yeah.
always happy to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
I guess Marilyn, I kind of want to open it up to you since you haven't been on before. Can you talk a little bit about yourself? Maybe your kind of Hunger Games background, when you read the books, the movies, all that jazz.
Oh my gosh, I would be honored. Okay, well, now I have to like think back to literally all of my Hunger Games experiences. But I
Right.
I first read the books back in 2010, and I it was a core memory because I was assigned to read it for high school, like my freshman year high school class, which was just such a great like I went into it being like, "Oh, everyone's talking about this book. I don't know, maybe I'll read it." And then when it was assigned for us to read, my teacher did the best job ever. Like she was like, "Okay, everyone, tomorrow's the reaping." And we were all like, "What? What is this?" And the way that she led the class, like she was just such a good OG fan and like made me become a fan. So it was a great experience first reading the book. But yeah, so that was in 2010. And then since then, yeah, it's so funny because I'm technically like a wedding photographer, and my Instagram was kind of an amalgamation of like photography and being a Hunger Games fan. And then finally I was like, I think I'm posting too much about random like Hunger Games excitement that I need to like separate these accounts into different things. So this
Right.
year I was like very much inspired to be like, let me just post as much as I want about the Hunger Games and not feel like it's too much because it's never too much.
Yeah, I feel like that's always the question. I know like Brian was always feeling like he was posting too much on his account and then so created the Hunger Games account. But like, why not? Just share your Hunger Games love with everyone.
Yeah. And honestly, the best part is that it's led me to people like you guys. And that truly is just the best part with Ballad coming out this year and wanting to share that love and like reignite that passion. I mean, all of TikTok is doing it too, which is great to see. And it just feels like it's this big, warm, loving community. And so now all the people like in high school that were like, wow, you really like the Hunger Games, huh? I'm like, yes. And there are plenty of people who do. So it's great to see.
That's so cool that you like were introduced to it or like read it in school because I think a couple of people here also had that same
Yeah.
experience, right? Taylor, you did, Tiffany.
Oh,
Yeah, mine was in college.
I just feel like we should like they need to do that still, or maybe they need to do that again if they stopped. Because I know a couple of like my partner used to teach a class and they would watch the movie, but I was like, oh, I want them to read it.
Yeah,
I
Max.
feel like
Max
more
used
and
to
more
have.
it's going to be,
Oh, I was just gonna say Max used to be in a class. He said it was like in a sixth grade class with all boys where they just read the Hunger Games.
Yeah, mine was sixth grade, but my mom told me the summer before that I needed to read it. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I read it and I hated it. And then my sixth grade teacher was like, guys, you have to read The Hunger Games. It's so good. And then I was like, okay. And then I read it and I liked it again.
Oh.
So cute. Also, sorry I'm late, but it's so great to have everyone on here. Welcome, everyone.
yeah, I feel like this is a fun group.
And also, we need to talk about Marilyn's cosplay. I don't know if you have already. I kind of jumped in during the introduction, your Lucy Gray cosplay. That's
Oh,
amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's like very humble in comparison to I mean, I follow like Jenny and like all of these amazing seamstresses and obviously Brian, and I don't have any sewing skills. So it was kind of I'll have to upload like a video of what I actually did to put it together, but it was a lot of like combination of buying certain things off of Amazon, but then like doing some hand sewing and it was a labor of love, but I was like I don't know how to sew, but I know that I want to try to do this. So it took like as soon
Yeah.
as I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, let's get started.
I don't know how to sew, so I feel like I would love to see that tutorial, honestly.
Yeah. I will definitely post something. I'll do my little like here's the beginning to end process.
Oh my gosh, yes. But it
And
looked
your
amazing.
TikTok, I was like scrolling through that the other day, and the one that you have
Yeah.
pinned, like that's just your kind of life as a Hunger Games fan. It's so cute. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh, thank you. Yeah, I remember when I made that, I feel like it was the big, I don't remember if the Hunger Games had like a resurgence on TikTok in 22, but I made it as like, just kind of what we were all doing, like, yay, 10 years. And that one blew up. And I was like, wait, oh my gosh, now I like know who all the fans are and can follow everyone. So
Okay, I feel like I want to get people's reactions to the movie, especially those we haven't heard from yet. So I don't know. Rachel, do you want to maybe jump in and kind of tell us what your original thoughts after seeing the movie for the first time were?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I actually saw it for the first time on the 16th, the day before it was officially released. I had
Mhm.
been in Dallas with my husband. He had just started a new job, so I flew down there with him to do like his orientation and like a ceremony and stuff. And I literally landed back in town and drove straight to the movie theater. Like I was like, I'm not messing around on this. I am seeing this immediately. Um, so it was really cool. But I just immediately, just my first thought of it was just a really great, for the most part, book to screen adaptation. Just because I know we've talked about this before of like it's a lot. That's a huge book. It was what like 100 and something more pages than Mockingjay, and they split Mockingjay into two movies. And so I'm like, they had a lot to cram in there. So I felt like they did a pretty good job of getting everything, like a lot of the important things in. Some of the changes that they had made, like I didn't really care too much about the changes that they made to the games and everything. Um, I felt like that really didn't hurt. It kind of, I don't know. I feel like for the most part, it didn't hurt the story that much. There were a few things that I wish that they would have kept book accurate, but I think like for the casual viewer, I don't think it really matters. But there were a handful of things like I hate that we didn't see the cubby, that we didn't get to meet them, and like a few random book bits that I do wish that we had. But overall, I still absolutely love it. And I just went and saw it for the third time on Monday. And like I'm still crying, even though I know exactly what's happening. So I feel like that's a pretty good assessment if it's still making me cry when I know exactly what's going to happen.
I can totally relate to that though. Totally get it. I wish we would have seen more Covey because I love Barb and I feel like it
Yes.
would have been really cool to do like a little bit of even like some marketing would have been cool to break down more of the tributes and because they did focus a lot of the movie on the games. So to
Yeah.
focus more on individual characters and to build up the Covey I think would have been fun in marketing. Like they kind of attempted it with the whole like Lucy Gray and concert thing, but they could have really pushed more of the Covey. I totally agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah. I was like, I don't even think they didn't even say anyone's name, like any of the Cubbies' name. She mentioned Clark Carmine, just and she's called him CC. And that's the only, and Maud Ivory, of course. But you never got to actually like meet Maud Ivory. It was just my little cousin Maud Ivory, and then you get to 12 and you see, oh, she's the youngest one, that must be Maud Ivory. But no, I think that they could have worked that into the marketing of like not even necessarily having like a music video kind of thing, but like once they actually started releasing some of the music, I feel like they could have made it more like, I don't know. I feel like they could have worked it into the marketing a little bit, but no, I was very shocked to hear that the games themselves, like as far as the timing between part one, part two, part three, that part two was not any longer than the other ones because it felt
so
like it
agree.
took forever.
Yes, I agree so much. Part two is my
What?
favorite part.
It
I didn't feel
feels
that at
so
all, but
long.
On.
Huh?
Absolutely. Oh, thank you,
No.
Rachel.
Okay, glad to know I'm not the only one that thinks that. But I was like, oh my God, this lasts so long. And then when I was listening to you all talk about it, I'm like, oh, wait, it's the exact same amount? Like, what?
Yeah, when Emily said that, I was shocked. I was really
Crazy,
shocked.
crazy. But no, I think overall positive thoughts and everything. Like I said, I'll be interested to see like whenever we get deleted scenes, like what we could have had. But overall, very positive thoughts. I'm taking my husband to go see it this weekend in RPX before it gets out of theaters. So
yes,
I can see it
you
one more
gotta do
time
it.
and make
Mm.
him go do it too. And then obviously then plan on ordering it for Blu-ray consumption as soon as I can.
But I hate that it's kind of being rushed out of theaters.
I was so shocked because I was looking for times to see when he and I could go. And I think I was even looking at maybe like next weekend or something. And it wasn't letting me choose past December 6th. And I'm like, oh. And as it kept getting closer and closer, it was getting to where it was only like 2 movie times per day. And I think this weekend is the last time that they're doing RPX. I don't remember. But I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going this weekend.
Yeah, I can't see it in in like any premium format anymore around me, which is a bummer.
Yeah, very sad. That's because that's like 3 weeks that it's been in theaters, so that's a bummer. But
So quick.
eh,
Okay,
it's
You
fine.
feel
let's
like
move
Barbie and
to Holly. What were you saying? Sorry, I interrupted you. Something about Barbie.
oh no, I said let's keep it like Barbie and keep it in theaters forever.
It
Yes.
needs to make like $1 billion. Come on, guys.
Yes, exactly. Get all your friends to go.
Okay, I'm moving over to Ronnie next. I want to hear what your initial reaction to the movie was after seeing it at the premiere. Yes, no, Ronnie, are you with us?
No,
nope,
Ronnie's trying
not
to
anymore.
mute,
Okay,
it looks like.
let's jump over to Brian, if you're on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're good.
I'm testing out that Hunger Games microphone that I got.
So cool.
Nice.
Okay, so I have seen it 9 times so far.
Yes.
I think that's probably the
Um,
most. Has anybody seen
Yeah.
it more than that?
I've seen it.
Case?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've seen it
I'm
5
still at
times.
8 because of tribute talk. I couldn't go tonight. So
Yeah, I couldn't go tonight. I'm
Thank you
going
for
tomorrow.
being with us. I'm
yeah, I'm
also
going
excited.
Saturday. So
I think I'm going again tomorrow for the 10th.
Double digits. Oh my goodness. Has anyone gone past that? I want to hear
I
if
don't think
anyone's
so.
seen it past 10.
So yeah, I've seen it a lot in IMAX. So my initial thoughts after the premiere. Am I echoing?
Brian, I think, yeah, you're echoing pretty bad.
Okay, how about now?
I think I can still hear the echo.
Okay, I'm gonna disconnect the microphone.
Womp womp.
I get it though.
Okay, how
No.
about now?
Oh, I think so. I think that's good.
Yeah, that's better.
All right. So my initial thoughts.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait, I think I accidentally
No.
muted Brian. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh. Hey, who ordered this pig?
Who ordered this big? Eh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Brian. I was
Oh,
trying to
that's
mute
okay.
myself.
So I think my initial thoughts after the premiere, I guess just because it was so short compared to what I actually wanted, because I wanted 3 hours or 3 hours and 20 minutes. I was a little disappointed on the first viewing. But after seeing it the second time, I was like, okay, I know what to expect. It was really good. And then the third time was the most emotional for me. The third time is when I cried the most. Although I did cry after seeing it the second time, just because, and I had gotten home and I just started crying because I miss all of you guys, and it was weird
Oh.
just being by myself in the
Oh.
theater and not looking to my left or right and seeing you guys. So it was
Yeah.
I did cry when I got home for that, but after the third time, I've really enjoyed it every single time. Especially seeing it in IMAX so many times. I've just loved seeing all these little details and focusing on different parts of the screen each time.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I do like seeing it in the big screen just because you can see a lot of the little background things, like the background actors, like props in the background, all that kind of stuff is really cool.
Yeah. I think right now, I think it's pretty good. At first, I was shocked just by how much they changed, but I figured they would have done that because, it's always based on the novel, not the literal translation of.
Yeah. No,
The
yeah,
only thing I
it's
have issues right
definitely
now
mixed
is the
feelings.
score. Not with like what's written, just with what wasn't released. Because I'm a complete score person, so I need like every piece of music that's in the movie, and there's a lot
Oh,
that's left
what
out.
what scenes are not on the score?
So the Roblox music that we first heard,
The
that
Roblox music.
You know the
that play,
Roblox music? I love that sentence.
yeah, the part that plays right as they show Coriolanus waiting in his bedroom, that I think could have easily been kept on at the end of the Dark Days, the first piece. But that's not in there. When Dr. Gall first shows up at the reaping ceremony, that part isn't on there. And it's just a lot that isn't on there, especially major parts like Sejanus's hanging. That's not on the score.
That's so
Um,
weird.
What?
That's so weird.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my volume is really low and I can barely hear you guys.
Yeah, you're echoing just a little bit still too, so not totally sure.
Hold on, let me like exit out and rejoin.
I agree though, with what Brian said because well, it's not the score I want the wakey trumpets, but that's nowhere to be found. I've looked through the score a billion times for it, but they're nowhere to be found. But the score that plays when Gall's talking and she talks about the like next generation, and there's like this weird, I mean, I don't know music, but like this weird sound that comes up, and I really like it. But I agree now that Brian said that, I don't know that that's in there, and that's kind of frustrating because that's a really good piece. Like I
Okay,
said, I don't know music, so I don't know what that is. But
what part are you talking about?
when like Gall's speaking at the reaping and they're like backing out through the crowd and you just see both aisles are like filled with red, there's like this sound that pops up or
Oh,
this little
okay.
segment of the music.
Yeah, that's sort of like her theme, and it's just some like bass clarinets. That piece isn't in there.
Yeah, that's
Um,
funny.
but and then also those parts with the trumpets, like after, yeah, the part where uh Lucky says wakey wakey capital citizens.
Oh yeah.
That part is not there, and I think it could have easily been on there. But it's just the released album is just structured differently than the other ones are. In certain pieces, it's the entire scene, but then the middle chunk is cut out and it's like an abridged version. Like the drone attack starts when the drones show up, when the career pack is attacking Lucy. The music starts there and then ends once she gets into the air duct. But that entire middle part where Mizzen and Coral are fighting Lamina, that whole middle part is cut out. And then in planting the cloth, the part where Coriolanus is actually putting the cloth in the snake tank, that part is cut out of the score.
I
It's so
wonder-
weird. Like, I was talking to a friend earlier today, and we were talking about the score and talking about like just the movie length in general. And we were like, it's so weird that they released like the reaping scene and the bloodbath and like so many clips and like so many things before the movie came out. And then the movie came out, and then we didn't get like a complete score. Apparently, we didn't get like studio recordings of the songs from the movie. We didn't like, there's so many like weird things that are missing.
Which we know that a studio version of some of the songs exists.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah,
can
I mean,
hear
it
me.
has
Wait.
to.
We can hear you.
Ronnie,
Oh my
Ronnie.
God.
Ronnie.
I have no idea what happened. I'm so sorry, but I was listening in and like talking my head off to myself. So I'm glad I can finally be heard.
Yeah, I mean, studio versions of everything has to exist because they would have had to have tracks to play just in case
Yeah.
she couldn't sing live one day or for a take or something.
I mean, it's
So
just
I
off
don't
that
get it.
but it's off that they didn't include it in the soundtrack. Like, why? I don't know.
Yeah, the first time listening to the soundtrack and it starts playing and it's like the movie scene was
Yes.
so
I was
strange.
shocked.
It was weird.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that was strange. I was like, do other movies do this? Because I was like gasping when I heard like Capital says keep rolling. I was like, oh, okay. I'm watching the movie.
Yeah, it was
I
so
will
weird.
never.
It reminds
will-
me of like Disney movies, like the Frozen sound, like I guess soundtrack or whatever, because their songs are like in a scene, but those movies are like in a musical format, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
And-
like how musical
Yeah,
tracks usually are with like the intro to the song,
Exactly.
the speaking part or something.
right,
Weird.
exactly. But then this is just like an in between that because it's not considered a musical, but there's
It's
music
just the
in the
scene.
movie. So weird.
I
will
just
Hunger
never-
Games, the
it would be
musical.
okay, except for the fact that, especially in the old There Before, it goes back and forth between like the center where they're all there watching the games and then in the arena. So like the sound changes of her
Mhm.
voice.
Mhm.
It's so I
Hate it.
don't like it.
Hashtag release the score cut.
It
I'll
released a
never
lot of
forget.
stuff.
Like
I'll
if we're
never
never
forget
gonna get
Emily's. Go ahead, Angel. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, if we
Chase.
never, Woo! If we never get like a director's cut of the movie, give us at least the soundtrack, please.
Yeah, I would have paid like $50 for a complete score or more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have the complete scores for the other movies, so I'll just have to keep digging in the dark places of the internet to find them. 'Cause they do end up showing.
I remember that like back in the day when the first movie came out, and I didn't know what like the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, whatever, like the Caesar Flickerman thing, forever. For like months, it was impossible to figure out what that piece of music was. And then eventually, I searched for it again like 10 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, it's obviously this song. And I was like, what do you mean? Like,
I think that just is from other people finding out, and so it just helps
Yeah.
a lot. Plus, if you just pay attention to the end of the credits, anything that is not written by James Newton Howard will be credited.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the look on Emily's face the night after the first watch in North Carolina, and she got the score out, or not the score, but the soundtrack out, and started playing it. And as soon as Arachne started talking during the middle of the song, I think she was about to burn the house down. She was so angry.
I'm still mad. I'm still
We
mad.
were in a bad headspace at that night, anyways. It
That was
wasn't a
a-
good
We
day.
were.
That was a dark night for you guys.
That was the darkest of nights.
To be honest, I was having fun with it because I was feeling validated, but yeah.
I was just waiting patiently. I was like,
I
they'll
was
come up.
depressed.
Yeah.
So
It's
depressing.
it's all good now though. It's
Yeah,
all good
yeah, yeah.
now.
Complete
Mm.
180.
Okay, now I want to hear Ronnie and your thoughts about the movie initially.
Okay, just want to double check we can hear me.
You sound great, crystal clear.
Yes.
Amazing, thank you. So yes, the premiere night, I liked it, but I was very overwhelmed because it was like what other people have said. It was a lot. Like, I mean, it just goes from scene to scene to scene to scene. I mean, granted, there's not a dull moment really. But it was just like extremely overwhelming. And it wasn't until I saw it for the second time. I think I just got back from LA like the night before, and no, it wasn't the night before. It was when it came out here on the 16th. Like there was like 8:30 p.m. shows and 10 o'clock shows. So I convinced my best friend / roommate to go with me at like a pretty late show in Manhattan, which takes like 45 minutes to get to. And she's a trooper. We love Victoria. If you're listening, you're a trooper. Because she's like not the biggest Hunger Games fan, but like she enjoys the movies or whatever. And I was really curious to see like what she thought of it because she hasn't read Ballad yet. And like when the movie was over, she looked at me and she was like, "That was really good." And I was like, yeah, that was really good. And I think that after I saw it the first time and I talked to a couple of people that have already seen it at this point a second time, they said it gets better second viewing. Like Emily, you said that, like Claymal said that. So yeah, I think that's true. It gets better, I think, with every time you watch it. I've since seen it, I think, about 7 times at this point, and I can say that it's like a really good movie. I do agree with. I listened to Holly and Emily, your Into the Arena episode, like movie review episode, and I agreed with honestly like most, if not all, of your points about it. I think that the added scene of Coriolanus going into the arena after the bombing was so stupid. And they could have used that screen time to do something like flesh out characters or like include a scene that's in
Amen.
Hard agree.
That's actually my favorite scene.
Really?
Brian,
Yeah.
you gotta tell us why. Explain this.
Oh, okay, I'll do it real quick. So my entire favorite portion of the film that I'm just like glued to the screen is when he wakes up in the hospital all the way to the beginning of the games. The reason why I really love that scene and of him in the arena is because, especially with like a costuming aspect, the way he's dressed, he's not in his uniform, he's not in an outfit that Tigress made for him, so they still look rich. He's in a basic outfit, most likely, so he can sneak into the arena, but he's in a basic outfit and he's very vulnerable, and he's in the arena for the specific purpose of finding a way to repay Lucy Gray for saving his life. So he is trying to find every possible way in the arena that she can hide and survive the entire games. And he's not doing it to impress his classmates. He's not doing it in front of the cameras. He's just in there looking for a way for her to live on his own because he wants her to live now so he can repay the debt that she saved his life.
That's
That's a really good point. Honestly, I have not thought about it like that, and I do agree. I don't know if it was just because of the way that it was like it just jumped on us like that because like so far the book or the movie had been pretty accurate. I do think that moving like from her getting dropped off in the Capitol to like the games was only like 2 days, which like really stressed me out because I was like, how are they going to fit everything that happens in the book between those 2 days? Like that kind of jarred me a little bit. I just thought of it as just kind of progressing the plot a little bit too quickly. Which I know they have to because it's already a long movie, but like it wasn't particularly my favorite. But we'll see next time I rewatch it, which I believe is either tomorrow or Saturday. I think I'll appreciate it more. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah. And that part of the score, which is ideas firing.
Oh
It's
yeah.
I think that one is my favorite piece from the score, just because it sounds a lot like the music written for Lucy Gray, but Coriolanus is on screen for most of the time, so it's showing that, you know, at that moment he's a songbird, he's being a good person.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I should have stuck with music theory in college. Because that's really good.
Because for Coriolanus, you get a lot of strings and lower strings and really bold music, but for Lucy Gray, you get a lot of higher. And I don't know what that instrument is, but it's that kind of clinging sound, especially like at the reaping when you first see her. You hear that clinging sound, and then the vocals come in of the female vocals. It's probably the boys' choir that's doing that part. So that really soft voice, and that's associated with Lucy Gray, plays for Coriolanus at the time when he's in the arena, showing that he's being a good person, and it's not for show. It's genuinely what he wants to do.
Yeah. Okay, good. I like that. Thank you.
So yeah, that's why I love that scene.
Okay, now I dig it. Does that change anybody else's opinions on the scene that if they didn't like it before?
Yes. Yeah, that changed mine for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, like
No.
I kind of forgot what I'm going to
Love
talk
you,
about
Brian,
next.
but no.
I appreciate it. I mean, it doesn't make me like the scene, but it makes me like it more.
Yeah. And like I like his little outfit. I think it's cute. He looks like a little like paper boy or something like that.
I think for me, it's mostly the time that we're wasting on that scene
Yeah.
that could have gone to
Yeah.
things that I am sad or
Yeah.
missing or
Yeah.
different. So like if all the other things were in there that I'm sad were cut, then the scene being there would be fine. It'd be okay.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
and
like-
it's one of the only few like added. I mean, I don't want to say one of the only few added scenes. I think we got mostly condensed scenes and then just like a sprinkling of added stuff. And so like we noticed the difference. Like, oh yeah, this wasn't in the book, and this is a weird, at least on initial viewing, weird thing that he's doing. Because I don't know if book Coriolanus would have gotten away with doing that. I mean, who knows? Because I mean, they do say that like Sejanus broke into the arena, so I don't know. I feel like it'd be under heightened security or something since it was just bombed, but who knows?
It's like,
Oh, go ahead.
no, for me, it's like, it's kind of like what Emily was saying, like it's the time thing, like, because for me, what I feel like is truly missing from the movie, even though it's like explained kind of by Gaul, I really wanted to see Snow talk to Sejanus's parents and like
Yes, that was going to be.
usurp like the role of their son, because to me that like in the book, for me that was like a scene that really cements him as like a villain, like he's truly slimy, you know.
Yeah.
And having a scene where he's doing something nice for Lucy Gray instead, I feel like to me it takes away a little bit from the point, which is that he's always been selfish and like fundamentally selfish, you know. And so I don't know, I see what you're saying, Brian, and it makes me like it more, but I just don't think it makes it more like in character, especially when I think I would have traded that scene for a scene at the end, like with Sejanus's parents, or some other thing that really shows that he's like just vile.
And that was going to be my next. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, if anything should be added, I think like what you said, him interacting with Sejanus's parents should be added. But yeah, but I just take that scene as that's the last good thing he does, because after that, starts to evolve into the person we do know.
Yeah.
So,
And
but yeah,
that's
I understand wanting to trade that for maybe him visiting Sejanus's parents and talking to them.
yeah.
I will say the scene is only like a minute long too. I timed it last time because I wanted to know how much time we were wasting on that
Oh my gosh.
scene.
Like,
That's iconic.
But and it's not too bad. So that made me less upset. It's only a
Yeah.
minute.
But yeah, I mean that was like at least until now, because like now I like the scene a little bit more. That was kind of my biggest gripe, other than like, okay, no, it's not. But like I the second act is definitely up there for me. In like favorites. I really wish, because in the book, the Peacekeeper was my favorite, and I just found that whole thing just extremely rushed. I don't agree with people that are like, oh, well, it just feels like a completely different movie, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, that's kind of how it is in the book. Like it just changes so quickly. I just wish that they would have spent more time on it, and like also building like Sejanus and Snow's character like arc together a little bit better. Um, and yeah, I mean, like I thought that it was still like really, really well done. I think that Lucy Gray's character, I was really afraid of her singing, and I think all the music is so good. I love every single one of the Covey songs and like every single song that Rachel sings. But that's the Tennessee boy in me, I think, because it sounds very inspired by like Appalachia. Um,
Preach.
and it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, like every single time I watch it, I just find new things to appreciate about it. Um, yeah, I'm glad that we have this movie. Like I'm happy that it got made, and at the end of the day, I'm satisfied with it. So yeah, and it's still something that like I just want to rewatch and rewatch. I haven't like felt like, oh, like I'll wait until the DVD comes out or whatever. Like I'm actively trying to see it as many times as possible. So yeah, that's me.
If I could sing and was still in Nashville, I'd be singing those songs everywhere, trying to promote the movie.
mm-hmm.
I was playing so many of them at my work the other day because we have control over the music. And I mean, didn't really match the vibe with the cafe that I work at, but like, it's fine. The customers could deal with it.
Ronnie, I'm just picturing you playing like the old There Before and the weird cuts that
Oh,
it
yeah,
goes.
no, I purposely do not play any of the ones that are recorded like that. Like Here's a Driven Snow and You Can't Take It From Me. But like, yeah, I'm trying to promote this movie still. Darn it. I think people should see it.
I think a lot of people have seen it though. Like I think theaters have been pretty full overall, at
Yeah.
least where I've been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I've been going to IMAX, is because right now IMAX is pretty empty. At like the max amount of other people in the theater with me, about 7 other people. But
Oh, wow.
all the other regular theaters, those are, every time I check, they're always full. It's only like the front rows are very back that's empty. So then I just go over to IMAX because I know that's pretty much empty.
Yeah, that's the same with me. All of mine have been pretty full except for the last one I went to, which is the IMAX. Okay, I want to hear from Marilyn. Would you like to share some of your initial thoughts after seeing the film, what you thought about it?
Yes, I would love to. I agree with a lot of what's been said already today. I feel like I was kind of going into it expecting like, okay, I'm gonna be overwhelmed and I'll probably like it more the second time. But even though I definitely was overwhelmed, I feel like I was the most satisfied with Ballad my first viewing than I have been with the like with the trilogy. And I don't know if that's just because I'm like a little bit older or what, but I feel like after the movie ended the first time that I saw it, I was just like in awe. And then I was like, wow, I'm very satisfied. And I feel like I almost had an opposite effect where after I was thinking about like all of these other things that could have been included, I was like, actually, wait, I would love to see more Covey. Oh, actually, wait. But my first reaction was like, oh, they did it. Like they somehow managed to make this happen and make all of the parts somehow very equal to each other. I was just like blown away. So very, very positive. And I mean, same thing what everyone else has been saying. Like, I do feel like even the second time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a really good movie. And specifically, like, also talking about the music, I'm just so blown away. Rachel is so talented. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
just her voice, every time she comes on like the stage in part three, I was like, oh my God, like we got so lucky.
Yeah, serious. Like the part was made for her.
Yeah. Ugh. But the other thing I was thinking about too, especially with like the snow going into the arena scene, it reminded me of like I've had a lot of friends, thankfully, tell me like, oh yeah, I went to go see it. That friends that I didn't realize like were fans or just like acquaintances that were like, oh yeah, like you post about the Hunger Games. I went to go see that new movie. And it's so cool to see like what people who aren't necessarily fans are saying about it, because obviously you get this like whole different perspective. And that's the one thing that I was like, oh, maybe I feel like a lot of the people that I talked to were like, yeah, it feels like, I don't know, Coriolanus just suddenly becomes bad at the end. And I was like, oh, yeah, don't read into him viewing the arena as like him just helping Lucy Gray. Like that's like such a good example of like it is the good thing that he's doing, but you really need that balance of like I think AJ was saying like talking to Sejanus's parents and things like that to really be able to be like, oh, okay, that's not his true intention. And then you see more of his true intention. So I feel like a lot of moviegoers were like, whoa, he's bad
Yeah.
now? Like, huh.
My
So
mom literally was like, I feel bad for him. He just wanted to pay for his rent and have the girl, and then things didn't go his way. And I was like, that is absolutely not the takeaway here.
Yeah, I feel like that's the result of not having that inner dialogue.
Yes.
Kind of a
Well,
bummer.
and I was
Have you
thinking about that, but like in the original movies, like we don't get Katniss's inner monologue, but Jennifer does such a great job with like her eyes and stuff that you kind of get, what she's thinking. But also, what's different with Katniss is like you're meant to be on her side, you're meant to be rooting for her, whereas Snow
Yeah.
is like a way more complicated character, and the character that he presents to others as a facade, like the external one, is the likable one, but like on the inside, like we know how much he is annoyed by Sejanus. We know how much he thinks lowly of Lucy Gray for a long time before he like, and then when he starts to like her, he like has all his weird like justifications and stuff. And it's hard because in a movie, the rule is like show, don't tell. But in this case, it's kind of like, you would have had to add so many more scenes to be able to show those subtleties,
Yeah.
So it's tough. But yeah, my mom was just like, I feel bad for him. And I was like, no, he chose this 100%. Like every
Well,
time he had the chance to do something better, he did not. So
Yeah. Like after one showing that I went to, the people next to me, they turned to each other and they were talking, and I think one was a fan and one wasn't. And the one who wasn't really a fan was like, so she turned on him, right? Like she betrayed him. Like what? I mean, yes, but no.
so like
my
I
mom
don't know.
was so suspicious of Lucy Gray for like the entire movie. She was like, she's up to something. She's gonna get him like caught in some awful thing. And I was like, Ugh.
I don't know if you
No.
guys have seen those TikTok videos where they have like a clip from the movie, which I'm not sure how they got, but it's definitely not legal. And they put over like the audiobook narration so that like you can like hear his thoughts while watching the scene. And it's crazy how like Tom really does like I guess like physically do it. Like he does like the
Yeah.
facial expressions, like it matches up perfectly. But I do think that not having the internal dialogue, I'm like really mixed on it. But I can see it being good not having it because of like, I mean, you don't know what's going on in someone's thoughts. Like you don't know if like someone will end up being like, a crazy dictator. So it's just interesting to see him just like what the other people see, if that makes sense. And like why
Yeah.
it's so surprising that he turns out the way that he does. But I do think they should have kept at least one or two instances of internal dialogue because like he's sassy. I love it.
Yeah, like I
now I'm
just wish
thinking
it was
about
a little
this.
bit clearer.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just was thinking about it in like an entirely new way as we were talking about this. It almost feels like it's like Snow telling us the story in the movie, because when people are like, I don't know, I feel bad for him, like maybe Lucy Gray turned on him. Now I'm suddenly like, oh, is it even more meta than I'm thinking? It's like it's actually Coriolanus being like, yeah, you should feel bad for me, and like you should think that Lucy Gray turned on me, because that's the story I would like you to see.
That's funny.
I never thought about it that way, but now that we were chatting, I was like, oh, I feel like that almost is like the way that he's viewing his own world, right? Because he's like, I am doing what I have to do to survive, and I am
maybe that's how I'll watch the end cabin scene now, with her saying course not. Like that's just the way he heard it. But
Yeah,
she didn't say it like that.
And like Suzanne, like I mean, she writes unreliable narrators, like that's her thing. And he's just an unreliable narrator to his own movie.
I love it.
I like this canon. This is good.
Okay, I want to hear from Tiffany, I think is the last one who we really haven't heard movie thoughts from.
Yes. And sorry if you can hear anything in the back. I'm doing laundry. But I was a hater. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a hater the first time. Mostly because everything was just happening all at once. And also, to be transparent, I haven't read the book since it came out, because that's a lot of book. And I was listening to the audiobook for a couple of weeks at work in the background before the movie, but I'm a big visual person. So finally seeing everything come to life on screen was a lot of processing for me, because I couldn't picture the arena, because the idea of them getting into the arena was very foreign to me, considering that the arena that we know from the original trilogy is not necessarily a physical location, even though it is. It's more so like, technical. I don't even know. But it was very emotional for me to watch it the first time. That's the only time that I've cried, and I'm a very emotional person.
You were sobbing, girl.
Yes, I was sobbing. I'm a very emotional
Wait,
person.
what?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you didn't notice that. Oh my God. We were sitting a few seats down from y'all.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that at all.
All of the movies have been very emotional for me. I remember crying my eyes out on the way home from the midnight premiere of Catching Fire, and my sister was like, "Could you grow up?" And I was just bawling. And then, like, if anybody was at the Vegas event, I was fucking, oh my gosh, I was on the floor, but it was just Kelsey and I in our area, so I don't think anyone else got to see it. But yeah, I just cried a lot because the movie's real. But then the second time came around, and I was just a hater. And then, yeah, after the second time, I was like, wait, that's kind of good. So it took a little bit of processing to finally realize it. I'm seeing it for the 6th time tomorrow, and now I'm definitely a way bigger fan of the film adaptation than I originally was. It's just that this entire story, the book included, doesn't feel like familiar to me the same way the original trilogy does. And I think that's causing a rift in my ability to like it more, which sounds really weird, but like I am so familiar with Katniss's story and like all 3 of those books, and those movies are like I know them like the back of my hand. And so I wasn't even a huge fan of the prequel book. So when it became a movie, I was like, okay, I'll watch it because obviously, but at the same time, like it's like if your parents get divorced and your dad or your mom gets a new partner, it's like, who are you? That kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, obviously I love it to death and I live and breathe it. And Ballad has taken up my thoughts the past like couple of months. But yeah, deep down it's just a little weird to accept that it's real.
I totally get that.
I feel the
Yeah.
exact
I feel like that might be why I feel more critical of it, or I can be more forgiving of the other movies. But maybe it will become more nostalgic
with
and
time,
with
yeah.
everything else. Yeah, with time.
Yeah, it also just feels like the writing style in this book compared to the original ones, because it's third person and not from Katniss's point of view, is so like it didn't even feel like I was reading something from the same world a lot of the time. And then watching the film, I remember the first and second time I watched it, I was like, this is a Hunger Games movie? Like there's stuff that's Hunger Games, but it doesn't feel this like entirely the same. So I think that was also a problem that I had. But I mean, that's just like that's what a prequel is supposed to feel like, I guess. So I'm trying to get over that.
I'm the opposite. I was completely happy that we were going in a new direction and that the movie feels so different, because I was, Katniss's story has been, put in a box, wrapped in a bow, and put away. So I was completely happy with something completely new.
And I
Yeah.
also feel this way too. I feel like both ways. It's like I feel like they
Both are true. How can
so
both be
perfect.
true?
I feel like I felt similarly with Ballad as I did seeing Catching Fire for the first time, where like the first time I saw Catching Fire, I was very aware of the changes and the things that they cut out. And that was like, so it's not that I disliked it, but it was just a very overwhelming thing, and I just had to kind of like get used to it. And then once I saw it and I knew like what the adaptation was, I could accept it for what it was. And then, obviously Catching Fire is considered like the strongest in the franchise by a lot of people. And when the Ballad book came out, I remember also feeling that way of like, whoa, this is crazy different. Let me get used to this. Once it had time to like settle and like simmer for a bit, I found like a totally new appreciation for it, that it does feel separate than the original franchise, but it still feels like a part of it. And then I think the movie is the same way, where it was just like, okay, this is a lot. I'm very aware of everything that's different. And the first time I saw it, it felt super fast. It felt like whiplash. And I just saw it for the seventh time yesterday. And it was the first time where it was actually starting to feel like a long movie. And I
Yeah.
was like, what
I've
happened?
that too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
went to see it with my mom on Monday of this week. And that was the first time when I was like, dear Lord, like, can we wrap this up? Like, dear Lord. And yeah, I get what you mean, but I think my thing is because I don't know, like between the time of the book coming out and the movie coming out, so much of my life changed to the like I was still in college when the book came out, and then like the movie just came out. I like tomorrow is a year since I moved to a new city, all this stuff. So I think like there wasn't enough room in my brain to house this story. And I think now that I'm in a space where I can digest it fully the way that I could digest the original 3 books and 4 films, it's going to be a lot different. But I'm getting to the point where I feel like I totally know Snow. I mean, I obviously knew him before, but like as a character, I know him. Lucy Gray, I feel like I pretty much know her. But everyone else, I'm trying to get to that point, and it sounds so weird because it's like these are not real people, but they are to me.
No, but I mean, also the movie helped a lot in that aspect. Like, especially there's just so many characters in the book. I feel like I knew like the main characters, but the smaller ones, it always has helped me to see who they cast and then how they are in the role.
I did not understand Lucy Gray for a very long time, and it was like right before the movie was coming out, like once we were starting to get trailers and stuff. Actually, yeah, when we saw the first trailer, I was like, okay, I start to understand her a little bit more. Like I have a better grasp of her. And then now with the movie, I'm like, okay, she's my friend. I know her, because she was so conceptual to me in the book. And I was like, I need to know exactly what
She's
she
just
is.
a theater girl, She's just
Literally.
Rachel Zegler.
She's not a rebel. She's just a
Yeah,
girl.
she was so I totally know what you mean, because I thought she was the corniest, cringiest thing on the planet. The first, I mean, the only time I've read that book. But after
Yeah.
like seeing everybody else's reactions and seeing fans create the music themselves really helped me visualize and understand who she was. So by the time the movie came out, I was like, yeah, this is my homie. But I totally get what you mean, because it was so, the tone of the writing of Lucy Gray was so weird and backwards from what we're used to. Like, there's not really any character in the entire franchise like her. So yeah, she was a wild card, but Rachel.
I was like, what? I was like, what in the gem of Panem? What is going on
Yeah,
here?
I was like, why is she singing? What is going on?
I was like Arachne. I was like, is she mentally ill? Also, because that was also so jarring for me, and I always think about it when I watch the movie, where I'm like, could you imagine if, like, in Katniss's time, like, someone gets reaped and like they decide to do a whole performance about it? Like, that would never fly. But I also know that it was like a different time, and like the Peacekeeper does try to get them to like stop, but then Keppel says keep rolling or whatever. But I'm just thinking, like, the mayor hits her. She's on the ground for a hot minute. She's like, give me a minute, boys. And they listen to her. I'm like, no. Like,
yeah, that was
that's
hard
the
too.
police. Like, they don't care.
It's the sound
But
of
I
the
guess-
police.
Hmm?
It was a reference.
Oh, no, I got you.
But yeah, no, I get that. I think that was what a lot of casual fans struggle with too, because they're so used to Katniss, and then the polar opposite of Katniss gets on screen and we're supposed to like her, and people are like,
Mhm.
what's going on?
Yeah.
I could understand why she did that, because I feel like maybe the Peacekeepers were just so lax then. Like, it kind
No,
of
and they are.
I feel like they
They're
also
they're
like her.
friends.
They're chill with Lucy Gray, right?
Yeah,
kind of
give her
shows
something
how
to
like
talk.
familiar she is.
Yeah.
Well,
But like,
and
yeah,
it's
I don't think
like-
casual movie fans that haven't read the book would get that.
Mhm.
Dang it.
Yeah, because it makes sense to me when I think about it. I'm like, yeah, she, it's also like District 12 was different in her time than it is for Katniss's time. It's much more oppressed by the time we get to Katniss's time. It's so oppressed that even the Peacekeepers are like defeated, Whereas this one, it feels like, the Peacekeepers still have some control, but they like her and the Covey because, they're like the one happy thing happening in District 12, so there's like some familiarity or something there, but I don't know. It's just an interesting juxtaposition.
Who ordered this pig?
Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about that they didn't get to talk about last time, or through seeing the movie many times now?
I do
that
have one thing
you wanna
that I
s-
noticed that made me happy, because we've been talking about like a bunch of things that have been cut. I noticed on my 6th viewing that, or maybe 5th one, either way, in the hospital scene, we can see the TV like in the top right corner. It's out of focus and kind of in the background and stuff, but it's Coral's interview, and you can see her like twirling around her trident and stuff. And I'm like,
I was gonna mention that.
yeah. I was like, it's in it. It's just kind of it's out of focus and stuff. But
So
you
I
know,
wonder
they
if they
cut
had
the-
anyone else go up there as well, or if it
Yeah.
was just her to intro Lucy Gray.
I think there was more, because in some of the behind the scenes, like some of the behind the scenes posts that people had, it looked like maybe they were just sitting on set, but like it looked like maybe they were potentially filming for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Hopefully in the
But it-
deleted scenes
In the coming
Yeah.
day.
in the coming day.
Triggered.
Also, something that I didn't notice until the last time I saw it was there were so many photos of the current president of Pan Am.
Yes.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah,
This is
everywhere.
North Korea, dude.
I was
Like,
gonna say
yeah.
that. Yes.
Yep, that was my thought too. Only on the last viewing though. It was viewing number 8.
yeah, he's
I
in
haven't
the-
noticed that before.
and it's a blonde
I
man.
haven't either.
What is
I was
up?
about to say I've not paid attention to that at all.
I think
Is
he's
it just like in
the-
every room?
Yes, it's
He's
in
like-
the in the room where they're watching the games. It's in the hospital. I'm pretty sure it's in his house, and then it's somewhere else.
At the academy.
It's
yeah.
at the Peacekeeper barracks in District 12 too.
Mm.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, I can't wait to rewatch it to look out for it.
This
I'm
last
so
time I saw
excited.
it, I was just watching the backgrounds, just like looking at
Yeah.
props, looking at like I was like, what else can I look at here?
I was looking for
Wow.
coral crumbs, and that's how I found the interview. And I was like, ah, it's there.
Coral crumbs.
Yep. As you know how I roll.
I love that we finally figured out what was on those PJs too. 'Cause
They're
I've been
so
looking at that
I
every
need
single time.
those. That
Wait,
is like
what
a
are they? I think I
costume
missed that.
It's like a peacekeeper truck, I think. That's what
Aw.
was
Wait, why is that
said.
so like wholesome?
And it's because it's you can see the Capitol seal, but then it was like, what is that other blob that's on the PJs?
I want them.
I want them to.
Do,
I also like prop wise, I really want the at the War Department like front desk that like
the stamp.
yeah, like the computer thing. Like I know it like it's I think it's a little bit different than like the ones that the students use, but like it looks really cool. And also the phone on Commander Hoff's desk, because I think it has like a screen on it. It's so cool, but it looks like a rotary phone. I love it.
Do any of you have a specific thing that you look at every single time you watch the film? Because I have two. One of them only works in IMAX, but in the scene where Lucy Gray is singing the hanging tree and Snow is getting up to meet her at the hanging tree so that they can escape District 12, it shows the like the living quarters of the peacekeepers, and on the left-hand side there's a guy with his leg out on the bed while he's sleeping in his arm.
Yes.
And I look at him every single time.
Yes. I know
All the
exactly what you're talking about.
The
Wait.
peacekeepers all like sleep in like together. Like I noticed that. Like they're all like, is that how it's done in the military where they sleep side by side like that?
Yeah.
There's a in the crowd of the academy students when they're all like sleeping or like tired and like laying down and stuff. This one I just noticed last time, but there's someone just like laying like straight on one of the benches.
Oh,
But there's
yes.
one person that I notice every single time, and I'm like, see, if I was an extra, I would just do something ridiculous so I could spot myself. But they're just
Yeah.
like leaning over with their head in between like their knees and their like arms straight forward down. It's the funniest position, but I love it.
There's one that I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but it's like my favorite little like snippet, I guess, if that's what you'd call it. It's at the very, very, very beginning, and it's if you look really closely, Tom Blythe is sitting at the edge of a bed in his underwear. If you miss it, you might miss it. But, like
We definitely will.
Oh my
Definitely
god.
saw that part.
my absolute favorite part.
I never miss it.
I
I
don't
must
think
blink
anyone does.
every time because I'm just kidding.
I mean, have y'all
I've designed an outfit inspired just by that in my head, and I think it's so funny.
It's so good.
Well, this
I
is
mean,
my favorite discussion of the night. All these like random little things that we fixate on. Also, like props. Are there any like props that people like
gosh.
desperately need to have? Mine is the stamp
Stickers,
set,
earrings.
the stamp carousel when he gets assigned District 8 and he's like, send me to 12. Like, I need that. I need it. Also, the cabinet at the end.
And we know that you
that
need
has
Yeah, the cabinet at the end
fancy
is. I think
stuff.
Yes.
the
Yes.
cabinet at the end. I literally turned to Holly and when we were watching it in LA, and I was like, I need that.
I need it so
I
bad.
need-
That's going in my house.
I need the Academy lunch table set. I need the
Oh, it's so cute. I love it.
tablecloth, the napkins, the plates. I need it all.
I love that the napkins have the blue ones have the symbol on it for the academy.
Yes. I need that. I need that as well. When Lucy Gray's eating the food from him, need that.
I
Well,
need
guess the Academy colors are silver and blue, not silver and black like I thought.
mhm. I need the like textbook, the blue textbooks that they have.
Yes.
The Cad, whatever the fuck they call those, that the mentors have. And I didn't think I would need this, but I do now. I need Coral's trident. It's like super plain, but I
Oh,
have grown to love her very, very much. And it's also really cool. I kind of like that it's super plain because it
AJ,
just adds.
so I commented on one of Mackenzie's posts and I asked her if the trident was made out of styrofoam or plastic or something. And she said that they had so many tridents for different purposes. So maybe
yeah,
you want the option. At least
Trust
one.
me.
There's one
Trust
with your name on it, AJ.
I am
for sure.
Yes.
I need that broken bow and arrow set that we see briefly.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Ooh,
even notice
yes.
that until the last time I saw that. I was like, oh, Katniss.
I really want Lucy Gray's earring.
Oh,
I'm
it's
like
so
really
pretty.
Oh,
The poker chip?
that'd be cool. The poker chip.
I always think it's a poker chip when he's looking at the ground.
I love that little smile that he does when he picks it up and then he puts
I
it in
want
his
to punch
pocket.
him.
Why does he
Crazy
keep
eyes.
it?
So good
Why does he keep it? Like, I mean, I felt like he
to
just
control
Trophy.
a little piece of her still.
It's a trophy.
Yeah, it's a trophy.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, that's so true though.
I love
Ugh.
like in that whole sequence too. It took me like I think 2 or 3 viewings to see it, but like right before he shoots her, we see her running in the trees, like very faintly. And I didn't notice that at first.
Oh, in that white shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you see her twice.
Yeah, you see her
Yeah.
twice. And every time I watch it now, I'm like, as soon as we get to that part, I'm analyzing every single branch. I'm like, where is she?
Same.
I'm like, I wonder if they have her hidden somewhere, just for funsies. I have not found her either. So
Some people are trying to say that he's like not thinking clearly or like that it's like a delusion or something, but I feel like because he picks up the earring, that's like our signal that it's really happening. At
yeah,
least that's how I take it. It feels more real in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially since the snake isn't poisonous. It's like, what? I mean, I find it hard to believe he's just imagining it all.
mm-hmm.
Like,
I
if the
still-
snake had something in it, that would make more sense. Like, oh yeah, maybe there's some like side effects happening already, but it's like, okay, he didn't get bit by anything poisonous.
He just got a little crazy, it happens.
It was
I
the
can-
Tracker Jackers.
It's the Tracker Jacker, but the snake, it was Tracker Jacker venom.
And then we can have
Produce
season
powerful
6 for those of you who
hallucination.
don't know.
The veneers.
Oh, the microphone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love the microphone.
That was like a thing that I noticed immediately, like when we first got to see Lucky. I was like, is this my spile? Is this it?
Ooh,
also
you know
like-
what I want? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The pin that Lucky's wearing at the zoo. I'm obsessed with
I
that.
love that pin.
I love
Mhm.
it so much.
Oh. The like colorful one that's like red
Yeah.
and
Yeah, the one that looks
his
like
first
the
outfit.
the lighting units, I guess, that they use for the filming.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The suit stuff. It looks just like that. Like it's like the red orange with like a black dot. At least that's what I thought that it was trying to be.
It looks like eyes to me, but
Yeah,
I also
I'll-
had the same thought, Ronnie.
Yeah, it's cool. I also like how on the cameraman costumes they have like those backpacks with like the back, like I guess like the signal pack or whatever, and it reminds me of like in Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, like those like shelled like backpacks.
Yeah.
With the there.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool parallel.
I want the District 12 microphone.
That one's really cool. I mean, if you found the one that you found, I'm sure you can find this one.
Well, I already did. So the one they use in the previous films is the Heil Finn microphone, which is based on an actual vintage microphone from like the 40s. And so it looks like in the movie, because I've already found a few on eBay, they use an actual one from the 40s, which is why it's so dirty and
Oh, that's so
Oh,
cool.
so they because like the base where you plug in like the microphone cord and everything, it is different from this new version that's been recreated that they use for the other films. and I've seen it on eBay already. They're like 300 and up.
Oh wow.
But they did use like an actual one from the 40s in the movie.
That's so cool. The attention to detail is really good in this entire movie. I'm obsessed with it.
I think Uli Hennish did an incredible job with like production design.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was and when Phil Messina wasn't being brought on, but he did a really good job. He won me over.
Some people in the comments are saying Lucy Gray's snake bracelet is really cool.
Oh, I love that snake bracelet.
The orange scarf, obviously, that would be awesome to have. I think those were
The
the main
compass.
things. Oh, the Snow and Sejanus Polaroid.
Yes.
I feel like
Oh,
they could sell like a
They
replica
look
of
so
that. That'd be
goofy in
cool.
that.
The compact and the
What?
handmade.
Yeah, he always looks like Sid the Sloth when I see him in that picture.
I think
sorry.
they look cute.
Me too.
It's a great prop. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of surprised that the rose actually that's what I'm trying to say, that the compact doesn't have a rose on it.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed. Oh, can I get one of them little marinated creatures from the laboratory?
Yes,
Yes.
I need those.
That's
An
like
agent can have them.
that's like that early 2000s middle-aged mom decor with where it's
The
the
olives. The
Yes!
olives with the peppers and the
Yes! that's
Oh my gosh.
that's what that is to me.
You know,
Is it-
I did say my favorite one was the one that he ends up like tapping on and
Yes.
Oh,
like
the one
jiggles.
That thing
So
looks
I take that one.
that thing looks like a character from Lilo and Stitch, I
It
think.
does.
Yes.
It does.
You're
It does.
so
It
right.
does.
That
Every
spider
time
one
that
though is
scene-
creepy.
Every time that scene comes on, the TikTok plays in my head.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite TikTok audios also. So it's just like
Literally one of my favorite all-time videos ever.
It's so good.
People are looking at me like, "Why are you laughing during the scene?" It's like, you have to be on TikTok.
beanie. Man, there's always a moment that makes me laugh that isn't supposed to be funny at all, and I'm not making fun of it, but it's just something about it is like when Sejanus is killed and then Snow's like crying in the barracks or whatever, and he's like, no, like that like it sends me
The
into
sound.
orbit. What?
Also,
I mean, I don't laugh, but that's funny.
I agree, AJ. I thought that part was kind of, I don't know, it just made me like almost laugh too.
It's
No,
because
and it-
it's too much. The scene is too much.
also the amount of times that he just like hits things, like I mean that's a red flag in and itself.
He is
but, like
violent.
he just will just like hit things. Like I've never had that inclination before. I don't like I know like men usually do, like or not usually, but like a lot of men will just hit things. But like I just thought it was so stupid. I'm like, dude, go to a
love it.
therapist. Like
He's such
And
a
I-
Kyle.
I know, and I always end up laughing when he just starts beating on something randomly. Like just like I like what's wrong with you? Like clearly a lot.
I really want the Pan Am water that we see in that the
Yes.
actor that plays Sis is posted. And then there's also like I'm looking back at my account now, and there's so many little details from the Dark Days that didn't make it into the film. But there's Pan Am Ale, there's like the rabies propaganda, a
The
lot of
Avox ads.
Avox.
A lot of propaganda and like papers and stuff.
yeah, they just got no screen time.
Yeah, and we only saw like the Panar bills once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Shout out to the props people and the set dressers for doing all that work, and then it's not even in the movie.
For real.
Yeah, I love the big poster of the family sitting in the living room watching the games. It's so-
Yes.
which I know Emily said she wanted a scene of that. Which
I
thought was-
wanted that to be a scene.
I wish they would have at least
Oh,
shown
wow.
that poster because it was so well done. It was like a period poster.
They
I
also
would buy that poster. That's a
I
really
didn't
good
notice.
poster.
That's not in the movie, is it? I didn't even notice that. Oh my god.
it explains a lot about how no one's watching the games, but they don't show it. Instead, they tell it, which is like
They
whatever.
do a lot of that. They do a lot of telling and not showing. Like Gaul does a lot of exposition, or not exposition, but I guess it'd be the end, the conclusion, where she's like, "You're the heir of the," or and High Bottom also, yeah, like you're the heir of the Plinth fortune, and also you're doing this, and also you're going to a university because Straybo's paying for it, and then also like, and it's like, man, just no.
Yeah, I feel like there was a huge piece of like the Capitol actually getting invested in watching the games that was
Yeah.
really, really missing that I know I've said in the past was one of the things I was looking forward to most about this film because I thought it would deliver in that way, and we really only got the Academy students who were sitting there in that room watching it, and that just wasn't enough for me.
Yeah, same. Because at least in like the first movie, you get like those side scenes of like Haymitch watching like the betting and like
Yeah.
You get like a little bit, but I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be like that times 10 in this movie.
Yeah, same.
I was hoping to hear more Capital people opposed to the games besides Sejanus.
Yeah.
And I guess Dr. or Casca at the end.
When Lysistrata says, you know, at the beginning, like, tell me this will be over quickly, but yeah, it's not obvious enough to me from the movie that there's so much opposition to the game still.
Yeah.
Because like it starts off with like all of them chatting, you know, and Festus is like, if I have to hear him talk about how the games are immoral one more time, like, you know, and it's like, okay, so it seems like, because that's like the kind of introduction, right? It feels like everyone's accepted this. Like Clemmy also makes that joke of, you know, like, don't you know they're starving in the districts? You know, like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah,
not
and
clear.
all of that discourse, if that's even the right word, I don't know, is so hard to hear. I
Yeah.
only know
It
they
is.
say that stuff because I've seen the movie 12 bazillion times. So I don't think people pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, the when he gets to the academy and she's like, "Are you hungry?" and he's like, "No, cook, you know, made steak for breakfast, had to throw
That
half of
is
it." Like all
probably
of that is
the
so fast.
weirdest line to me because it's so low.
Yeah, and
Like I feel like that's the lowest one of them all. Like
It took
the
me so many
hungry
viewings.
steak for breakfast. Like what?
It took
And
me
then
so many viewings to realize what he was saying. And I was like, oh, that's
about
okay.
the chauffeur and like all of that stuff, and I'm like, did Christopher Nolan make this movie? Because that man does not believe in ADR, you know, and all of that. So I'm like, I definitely, I want to try to go see it in theaters in a closed caption screening.
Dude, I said that when we were in
Same.
LA. I was like, I am deaf. This isn't ADA friendly enough for me. I need a caption.
Yeah.
Like,
I need subtitles.
Yeah.
I need
That's a good idea.
for audio processing because I'm the same. I'm like, I usually watch movies and TV shows with subtitles on regardless.
Yeah.
Because I just need that. And then I just kind of deal with it in movie theaters. But this was a little bit tricky. There's even beyond just that intro part, there's like a few lines here and there. Coral's last line, I didn't hear that until like the third time.
Yes. And
I'm
you could
so glad that
only
we
hear
all
it
agree
in
on
it.
this because I thought that I was like losing my hearing.
Yeah.
Like honestly.
You can't
I mean,
hear
maybe
it
we
in it.
are, but
In,
we need
in
to
the
compensate.
zoo, when Lucy Gray says bat bite, I thought she said
Yeah.
bat bot. I was like, what? There's robots?
Yeah,
Put
the
some
bat bite
respect.
line.
Put some
Bat
respect on my culture.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also feel like Tigress has to whisper a lot because she's like, it's like always late at night for her scenes. And so when she's whispering, I was like, oh no, I couldn't hear her the
Yes.
first times.
When
Yeah.
she's about like when I think of your father, or what I remember the most about him was that in his eyes it was just hate. It took me
Yes.
like 4 tries to get the word hate. I thought she was saying like it was like a similar sounding word, but I just couldn't get it to make
E8 maybe.
yeah, because he was talking about Bobbin, so I was like, it was just 8, like District 8. I was like, what are we saying here?
Yeah. Same. I was desperate. I was like, it's just what? What's in his eyes?
Yeah. I was like, and then that that scene would come up and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna concentrate really hard now.
Yeah.
And then I finally got it, but yeah, there's definitely some parts that are a little bit tricky to hear.
Mhm.
I demand an explanation for that.
Yeah, I'm not a subtitle person, but I think I need to watch it maybe at least once with subtitles just to make sure I heard
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure I don't miss any like of Lucky's little things because some of them
Yeah.
are like while everything else is happening. And so I'm like, did I hear everything funny that he said? Like, what if I missed
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, like one of the favorite things that he says is if you don't see me, I'm not there. But and that's meant to be in the background. But
Mm.
it's still clear enough that you can hear it. And it took me the same thing like 4 times to like hear it.
Mhm.
What's so funny though is like there are definitely some lines that are too loud, like that are background ones, like that one line in District 12, like who's that girl you were dancing with? I think her name
Yes.
is Josie.
Yeah.
Like why is that line so loud?
Josie. I was like, Josie, oh my God.
Especially because like Beanpole and Smiley aren't really featured as characters. I mean, they're in there, but they're not like characters like they are in the book, So I'm like, why did you give that background line so much more volume for a character that is like not even introduced to us formally?
So
Like,
funny.
what are you doing?
No, I think that's supposed to be them talking because I think he says Bean, who was
No, he
that girl
does.
you were, yeah.
He definitely does. I'm just saying, like, why is that line so clear
Oh, yeah.
when the characters aren't given that, like,
Yeah.
for like a better word, screen time?
It's just
Although
so
I
weird
will
in the middle because I don't think it's loud enough to be like regular dialogue that we're supposed to pay attention to, but it's also not low enough to just be background. It's
Yeah.
just funny to me.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about this movie, I think the extras did a lot better than the extras that were found like in Atlanta and North Carolina. I fully believe that everyone in the background is fully invested because watching the other films so often you notice how like weird some of the acting is for the extras in the background,
Yeah.
but for this one, I think all the European extras they did really well in fully committing to the role.
I am gonna agree for the most part, except for that scene when
Get her out.
that I mean they were speaking, so they're German. But then when Oreo and Lucy Gray win and they all run up,
Oh my
that one's
gosh,
kind
that
of
one
funny to
girl.
me. Like they're not really that invested in him winning. Their cheering is kind of it's funny to me.
The one girl
Yeah.
with the pigtails like gets in his face.
I think really they were all just trying to be like, all right, this is my chance to be on screen. Let me get to the front.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I would
did
be
the
doing
same
the same
too.
thing.
Funny.
I didn't even notice the accent in Get Her Out until you guys started mentioning it.
I
It
didn't
was
either, and now
literally
I
the
can't
first
unhear
thing
it.
the first thing I noticed when I watched it in LA. Like I immediately picked up on it.
I
You
picked it
guys
up,
ruined that part.
It was already bad, Abby, so
Ooh.
I mean it just made it a little
No.
worse.
I really hear Cooper's accent when Wovie pops out and she's like, "It's Wovie,
Yes.
the little one from H."
The little one from
It's
H.
so-
Yeah,
oh my
he
God.
looks like he
It doesn't help that he looks like a chimney sweep. Like
Oh my god.
a little like Victorian child. Like,
it looks
Top
like
was wearing the same outfit.
yeah.
I mean, his voice changes like every time he speaks.
oh yeah, because like when he's like, "Don't be scared."
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah,
Oh, he's so
That
creepy.
sounded
Creepy, yeah.
so alike. Oh my God.
Demonic.
I
Chauncey.
love him so much.
Lucy.
Like Chauncey.
He was
To be
just
fair, he's not the only one who does that though. Tanner does it first before he hits her.
Friends, Chauncey.
Yeah.
no.
Watch
Just
the
said,
beat.
watch the beat.
I love that line though.
Oh yeah.
Somebody call
It's like
Kim off.
No. He can, yeah, he can get it.
Speaking of Wovie Nation,
Wovie Nation.
who's here for Wovie Nation?
Nation?
Wovie is from District 8. Like 8.
She literally
She was literally 8.
She was so good.
And she was so precious. Oh my god.
My mama's factory all the time.
Oh my god.
Oh, is it over?
Oh
And
my
then it
gosh, I
said in her
almost
little
lost it there.
profile that her parents had died and her older brother takes care of her, so that's even sadder.
Yeah.
Sad.
That's why her and oh my gosh. Hello?
Bobbin?
Can't I think of his name? Oh my gosh,
Hello.
it starts with a G. Who Knox plays?
Bobbin?
It's Bobbin.
Why
Yeah.
did I want to say Gibbon?
What?
Gibbon.
You're thinking of
Isn't
Knox
his
Gibson.
name Gibson.
Okay.
Knox Gibson.
Anyway, that's why her and Bobbin are BFFs.
Yeah.
The zoo, at least.
I didn't think they'd focus so much on those characters, but I'm happy because I'm District 8.
Yes.
Geographically or biblically? Or
Literally.
Well, I mean, Tennessee was like right where District 8 is, so I've plus, my costuming fashion.
Well, I'm from District 12, but I moved to District 10, so how do you think I feel? Moo.
Well, I'm in the capital now, so
Yeah, so
Okay.
Can we talk about the validation that I got not only from Coral's character, but the placement of 4 in the weather report map? I was like, yes, thank you.
Okay, I haven't had time to really look at that map. Is that different than like the one
No.
that we've been getting, or
it looks like it's like just a little slight, like not actually different, but like, the
I mean, it looks
looks
like the one at the
Catching
exhibition.
fire.
that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. It looked like the one for the exhibition. Do you think it's because like people complained about them stealing the artist's art
No.
and
I
using it
don't
on
care
professional
about that at all.
pictures?
they
I
don't
don't think so because you still see it in the background, like the picture frames.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's everywhere.
I think maybe just
true.
like the visual effects team just didn't get the memo and
It's
just
like a different team.
reloaded
Everybody's on
the
different
same old
pages.
files.
I still
Yeah.
don't have an answer, and I made a whole TikTok about it, and I had to put it on private because people were being mean to me. But I was like, I still don't know why we have 2 different maps. And someone was like, "Well, it's propaganda," and I said, "Yes, I get that, but why? That doesn't make sense though, because this is the textbook for the academy, but then they have a weather report that all of the districts and the capital sees. So it doesn't make sense to me why that would even be a thing."
I still think it's a map of the capital.
Yeah.
But I feel like it can't be because it's just a copy of another fan's map. So
It's
But they could've
Brazil.
taken- They could have taken
It
the
is Brazil.
Dude, everyone's like,
they just took the design and decided it was the capital.
They could. They can do whatever they want.
I need Suzanne Collins to weigh in.
I want her to just like draw just a rough map on like a napkin so that
Yeah,
we can
I need her to pull-
like, I will take that.
Yeah,
Word. Microsoft Word.
yeah. Give me a Microsoft.
Microsoft Paint.
Give me a Snapchat,
Microsoft.
a markup on your iMac. iMac. Oh my gosh, am I?
I can't believe that's the only interview that we got from her. I mean, I can because I didn't think we'd get any interview from her, but then the fact that it was that interview about Microsoft Word, like, it's too funny.
I just wanted her to like talk to just Suzanne. I'm like not the with the screenwriter, I believe.
Yeah, we didn't need that guy.
Yeah, we didn't need him. I mean, no offense, but he did.
She
a great
needed
job.
him.
Yeah, she wasn't letting go of that arm. Well,
Yeah,
nothing.
she was hanging on for dear life.
She was terrified.
She was trying to make the next blonde man.
I like that throughout the whole thing, though, she was feeling more comfortable. So by the end, she was like, okay, no, I do know what I want people to do after this movie. Like,
Yeah.
that was good.
Man, I hope she writes another book. I feel like more optimistic about another book now than I did before the movie. Honestly, I don't know how you guys feel about that.
My mom was like, my mom, so aside from feeling sorry for Snow, her takeaway was, well, we don't know what happened to Lucy Gray, so it's obvious that they're setting up a new movie. And I was like, Mom, no.
Yeah, even if she doesn't write like a book, like a direct sequel to this, like just like literally anything I'll take at this point. But
Absolutely.
do you guys feel stronger about her releasing another book after this, or
No.
about the same, or what?
I think she's
I
gonna
feel
be hiding. Because
Yeah,
people
I wonder if she's gonna be more nervous seeing or maybe hearing about like all of the people that are like, wow, this movie's great. I want every single games, like that whole take of like, oh
Yeah.
God, we are the capital.
Mhm.
I feel like she's gonna be like very wary of that and pick and choose and be like, okay, well, if I'm gonna write, now I gotta really think what I
Yeah.
have to say.
Like, I mean, I have two quick points here. I mean, of course, like in the book, Lucy Gray's like, I don't sing when I'm told, I sing when I have something to say, which I mean, of course, that's Suzanne. But she started writing ballad, I believe they said in 2016, which was only like a year after part two came out. So like
True.
who knows if she might be, I mean, I'm trying to be an optimist here, but she might be writing another book now, for all we know. We just won't know for a few more years, but still.
Yeah, it is an election year next year. Think about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh, the source material she'll get from that alone, I'm sure will be insane.
I still need a Dark Days book.
I would love a Dark Days book, like so much. But I also want like a descent into Panem, if that makes sense. Like how like the districts, like kind of a la Handmaid's Tale, where like it shows the beginning of like how this sort of society formed and all of that. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I would, if it's not like a book from like this time period, let's say, like Ballad or Katniss or whatever, definitely a Panem like origin story, for lack of a better word. Personally, if it's gonna be like in this same um category of like characters or timeline or something, I would really love something from a career district, or like yeah, honestly, because I feel like that's a perspective we don't really know that much about, and they're kind of in between. And I'm
Yeah.
just very fascinated by that dichotomy, and would be interested to hear more like from that perspective. Like, how do you justify the games, or what's your relationship to the capital? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. And it
But she could
also,
write a book. Honestly, she could write a book about how the postal system of Panem works, and I would be eating
Yeah.
that up. So like,
yeah. And also,
find a way to make it interesting.
I saw people floating on Twitter like the idea. I mean, I know this idea has been around for a while, but like if it had to be like a character from the original trilogy, like Effie's backstory, like
Yeah.
how that works. Like we don't really have like a modern, quote unquote modern, as in the original trilogies, like point of view of like somebody that was in the Capitol. I think that'd be really interesting.
Mhm.
But above all else, I think like the formation of Panem would be like the most fascinating to me as someone that like loves world building.
Same. And I also feel like, as far as commentary and stuff goes, if she's trying to give us warnings or commentary or whatever on where we're at currently, the beginning of that country would be an interesting story to tell,
Yeah.
Like so many people here, like alive now, feel so far away from things like World War II that was so recent in human history, and it's like, I mean, the rise of how all that happened very quickly, and it's not that far away. Like it's very easy to fall back into those patterns. So I don't know.
Agreed.
There's a lot. And not for nothing, but Ballad came out during, a global pandemic where a lot of stuff happened and
Yes.
like exposed so much about mankind that I feel like there's plenty of material, even just using that as the inspiration,
Yeah. Agreed.
Feel like the last thing that we haven't really talked about is the fact that the 4-hour cut exists out there somewhere, and we have now confirmation from Nina that there will be no director's cut, which a lot of us have kind of been, Twitter people have been talking about, hoping, but hopefully some deleted scenes at least on the DVD.
Hmm.
If
Kind of
anyone
a
can
bummer.
4-hour cut, it'll be Claymore.
Yes.
In Kimo we trust.
Yeah, hopefully there's some good stuff on the DVD, like good behind the scenes content. I mean, we've been getting a lot of that already, which is so different from the other movies that you don't really have to wait for the DVD necessarily now for behind the scenes stuff. But
Yeah.
also deleted scenes. But I feel like some of the stuff that I want to see is changes, not necessarily like, decisions that they had to make. So like, should we do the scene this way or this way? And I feel like they're not going to give us alternate like versions of things, but
No.
hopefully some good deleted scenes. I'd love to see the interviews, like Lucky interviewing people on the chairs. I think we saw a couple of images where I think Festus was sitting there. I think Max posted one of those pictures, so they have some of that content. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah.
But yeah, just a bummer. No director's cut, which I mean makes sense because Francis is the one who wanted the movie at 2.5 hours, so it wouldn't be a director's cut.
Nina, if you're listening, please.
We
Just
need
take
a fan cut.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hey,
I know some of you people at Lionsgate listen sometimes, and I'm all I gotta say is you look great today, and also please give us the extended version. Thank you.
Please.
Oh, and I need a fabric poster for Target.
Oh, same. Oh my God. I need to
I
have
don't know
a
where
photo.
mine went, but I need it, and I need it to be nice, and yeah, that's all I got.
I need it to be Coriolanus on the chair.
Oh my God. I would die. Yes.
I need some freaking Funko Pops.
Yes, I need
Right
a great Funko Pop.
Yes.
I need a Pottery Barn teen collab with the World of the Hunger Games so that
Oh
we
my
can get those pajamas and
Oh
other
my
things. I have a lot of adult money. I actually don't have a lot of money at all. But I have adult money, and every once in a while I get a commission check, and I will gladly spend it on your merchandise. Thank you.
I also need to work on an expanded collection with Trish Somerville.
Yes. Make it happen. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. This was a super fun discussion tonight and hearing about the movie and your thoughts from those that we hadn't really heard from yet. So thank you, Marilyn, for coming on. Rachel, I know she had to dip out early. Brian, and everybody else who's usually on.
Thanks for
And
having me.
yeah, thank you for coming. Anytime you want to come on, honestly, like open invite.
Oh, my apologies for this. Sorry. The dogs.
And Holly and I have an episode out where we're talking about all of our thoughts, which is kind of why we didn't feel like delve into as much about our opinions about things. So that's up. You can watch if you want, and we will see you here again next week.